Welcome to the Wretched Hive podcast.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Moss Eisley Spaceport.
What are you talking about?
You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
This is ridiculous.
We must be cautious.
Actually, we're just a bunch of guys talking about Star Wars and other stuff.
I'm looking forward to having some real talk with some real folks.
That's good news.
I like the sound of that.
And welcome to another episode of the Wretched Hive podcast. This one episode, what are we on? 234 for Friday, August the 5th, 2022. My name is Steve Baldwin, and joining me, the whole gang is with us tonight. Scott, Greg, Nico, and Dave. Good evening, gentlemen. Hello.
Can I ask an off-topic question really quick?
Off-topic? This show?
It's a yes or no question for Nico.
Is there any
yes or no question for Nico?
Is there any off-topic for this show? Yes.
Nico, does your headset, does the mouthpiece light up? Is that what I just saw? Like Iron Man, it lights up?
Yeah, so when I mute myself.
Oh, look at that.
Nice. That's pretty tight.
Mm-hmm.
Get the fancy millennial.
That's pretty cool.
God, Nico.
That's pretty neato. Guys, we've got
I am really glad you plowed through the introductions because I literally just this very second realized I did not have audio cues ready for Dave's intro. So I'm really glad that you burned through everything, so I don't have to embarrass myself like I usually do.
Sounds great,
some
Greg.
type of audio.
That's
intro,
the old show. That's so 2021.
Right.
We
Greg,
don't.
if you don't have audio clips, you'll just make something up. You'll just be all over there like,
We would all laugh at it too.
Sounds great, Greg.
We've got a lot to cover tonight, guys. Stranger Things. We're going to be reviewing season 4 of Stranger Things. We've got Marvel at Comic-Con. Big announcements from Comic-Con a couple weeks ago. We had a trailer for Andor.
Oh my god.
Which was incredible. Star Wars Light and Magic on Disney Plus.
no spoilers, please.
The Taika Waititi film. The Star Wars Taika Waititi, is that in trouble?
I heard he's
Now,
a director, right?
in fairness, that article is sourced from Giant Freaking Robot.
Oh.
So it's not quite Movie Web. It's not quite Movie Web, but it's I think it's Movie Web adjacent on the realtor listing.
Sounds like
fair.
revenge porn to me. That's what it sounds like.
So we've got a lot
went
to cover.
dark. That went dark in a hurry.
We've got a lot to cover, guys. I do want to mention before we get started, you can check us out on social media, as always, first and foremost, on Facebook. We are on Facebook. That's what I just said. Facebook.com/Wretched Hive Podcast. You can check us out there. We very rarely post, so check that out. And then you can also find us on Instagram, which we post more frequently on.
We do?
And that is, Scott and I do. Scott is our social media chairman.
Well, to be fair, I've had a couple months off. So.
Great.
Do we post to Twitter more frequently or less frequently than the 45th President Donald Trump?
Oh shit. No, we lose.
No, I think we're a couple tweets ahead of him in the last year.
Oh,
Say,
but we're not on.
I did specify Twitter, not Truth Social.
We're not on
Truth
Social. That's
website
true.
Is. I did specify Twitter only. I don't care about any other.
Do we have a presence on Truth Social? Should we sign up for that?
Why are we promoting Truth Social? No.
You son of a bitch.
And you can also find us on Instagram at WretchedHive77. So go check that out. We are posting occasionally.
Steve, I don't know if you're new to this. We're huge with the MAGA community. We are. I don't know if you knew that.
God. I think we need to quit the show.
Love our show. They love our show.
Do they?
It's all over right wing fucking social media. How
are you
great
insane?
The Wretched Hive is.
Greg. Shh. Cut. We weren't supposed to talk to him about this.
I think I'm going to go on permanent vacation. And you can also find us online, stream all of the shows from the very beginning of the show, way back in 2016 at thewretchedhive.net.
When we didn't even have a name on that first couple episodes.
That's right. Excuse me.
did
It's
not.
wretchedhivepodcast.net.
Yes.
I don't even know our web URL anymore. Who knows?
Remember we were the
and
second
you-
order.
And will someone
Fist
tweet
odor.
us? It's been a while since we've gotten a tweet, guys. Please tweet us. Give us a
The
tweet.
fist
Let us know
odor.
what you think about the fist odor. Should we change our name? 562-455-4483. That's 562-455-HIVE. That's HIVE.
In case you can't spell Hive.
Yes, you are goddamn right.
All right. We got through that. Awesome. Well, let's jump in
Plug.
to actually before we get to the news, before we get to the Star Wars, Marvel,
Something that's not pop culture. related,
yes,
I think.
Stranger
Right, Steve?
Things
Yeah.
news. Yeah, thank you.
This does not fit into the Star Wars. It does not fit into the other stuff, really. It
Really
is-
doesn't. An icon, someone that we truly admire on this show, passed away this week, and we have to honor Vin Scully. Vin Scully, longtime Dodger announcer, and one of my idols. Truly, in all seriousness, one of my idols. Passed away this past week. He was 94. Vincent Edward Scully. He was the son of Irish immigrants, guys. He was born in 1938.
Redhead,
And,
you don't say.
Yep, he was. If you didn't know, he was a redhead. He went to Fordham University, and at the age of 22, the young age of 22, started broadcasting Dodger games in the spring of 1950.
And they were the Brooklyn Dodgers at that point, weren't they, Steve?
They were the
Right.
Brooklyn Dodgers. Yep, in
Definitely
1950.
the Dodgers at that point. They changed their name from the Bums to the Dodgers.
The nickname was the Bums, the Brooklyn Bums.
The Brooklyn Bums.
Yep, and
Now,
because they never won.
Was the
never-
1950 the last? 1950 was that the last season in New York before they moved to LA and played?
No,
Coliseum?
actually,
58.
He
58.
Vin Scully was the play-by-play announcer for the first Dodgers World Championship in 1955 in Brooklyn, and Vin said that was one of the proudest moments when he got to announce that the Brooklyn Dodgers are the world champions. In 1955, they moved to Los Angeles in 57 and promptly won the World Series in 59.
Right.
So he called 67 years of play-by-play in the Dodgers booth. You know, Joe DiMaggio had the 57-game hitting streak, and they say that'll never be broken. I don't think we'll ever see another announcer in any sport stick with one team for 67 years. What an
67 years.
incredible record! Incredible
Yeah.
record. He called.
Steve, I want to add something to your stats there, man. So his first year calling the Dodgers in the World Series in LA wasn't even at Dodger Stadium. Chavez Ravine wasn't even yet completed. So he was actually calling at
was
the
the Coliseum.
the Coliseum.
That's right. That's a good call.
Yeah.
Scott. You're right about that. He called 20 no-hitters in his career. Can you imagine that?
God.
There's only been about 350 no-hitters in the history of baseball.
And I'm sorry to interrupt you, but wasn't
Sure.
there a Dodger that threw not just a no-hitter but a perfect game in the World Series that he got to call?
The Yankees' Don Larson threw a perfect game in the World Series.
He did.
I'm not sure what year that was. I can't pull it off the top of my head right now. But
While you're thinking about that, he did call the Sandy Koufax perfect game, which Sandy Koufax, I don't know who was pitching for the Cubs when Sandy Koufax pitched a perfect game, but the Cubs pitcher pitched a one-hitter. There was one hit in the entire game. Sandy Koufax had a perfect game, and the Cubs pitcher had a one-hitter and took the loss.
Incredible.
Wow.
The only time that's ever happened, ever in baseball.
Yeah. That's amazing. Dodgers, of course, won the World Series in 1955 and then 59, 63, 65, 1981, and 1988. Of course, Vin was the play-by-play announcer for all of those. He was elected to the Hall of Fame in 1982. And, of course, in 88, called Kirk Gibson's famous home run in Game 1 of the World Series. When, as we were talking before we started rolling tonight, guys, he said, in a season of the improbable, the impossible has happened after allowing that almost like 40 seconds of silence to just let the crowd go crazy and tell the story for the folks watching on TV. He also
Not only the Dodgers, though. I was going to say not only the Dodgers. He also, and maybe you're getting to this. I'm sorry. I should probably just let you talk. But he also there's other things that he and Go ahead. You know what? I'm going to let you go for a little while. Maybe you're going to talk about it.
That's okay. Well, I have a couple of other highlights. So yeah, he did a lot of different sports, but one of the other famous baseball play-by-play games that he's famous for is the Dodgers were the road team the night that Hank Aaron broke Babe Ruth's all-time record for home runs in 1974. And Dodger pitcher Al Downing, who later became an announcer for the Dodgers, gave up that home run. And Vin Scully's, after Hank Aaron hit the home run, Vin Scully said, "What a marvelous moment for baseball. What a marvelous moment for Atlanta and the state of Georgia. What a marvelous moment for the country and the world. A black man is getting a standing ovation in the Deep South for breaking a record of an all-time baseball idol. And it's a great moment for all of us, particularly for Hank Aaron." Generations of Angelinos grew up listening to Vin's voice. A lot of us, and I dare say those of us on this podcast, grew up listening to him on their radio in the car. Myself with one of those little transistor radios hidden under my pillow after I was supposed to be asleep, listening to the Dodger game illegally, when I was a little kid. And yet, we all thought we felt like we knew him, having listened to him every night for years and years and years. And yet he was an intensely private person. He's sort of famous for waving and acknowledging fans, but, not lingering too long. He was intensely devoted to his family, 16 grandchildren. And I believe his son was tragically killed in the 90s. He was a helicopter pilot and he died. So he also lived through the loss of a child. His wife, Sandy, died. I think they were married since 1972. She died in 2021. And now he crosses the veil to join her, if you believe in that sort of thing. So Vin Scully, Los Angeles and American hero, died this week at age 94, and Godspeed, Mr. Scully.
Man, for a lot of us, it's how we learned the game of baseball, especially here in Southern California. If you were ever a fan of baseball for any reason, and I was going to mention that Hank Aaron was, and I'm glad I let you take it. So Hank Aaron was one of the calls I was going to mention. He also called because he was the voice of the World Series, regardless of who was playing for many years. And he called Bill Buckner's famous blunder against the Mets.
Oh, that's right.
That was his call also.
Yeah, he was the NBC. He was under contract for NBC, did all the World Series games and the game of the week on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
For years.
So I know there's a lot of East Coast voices that are out there. There's the guy who was the announcer for the Celtics with that raspy voice that everybody loves and goes gaga for. There's Joe Buck. There's tons of people who are out there.
Yeah, it's Harry Carey.
Mm-hmm. Harry Carey in Chicago.
Right. Or even Chick Hearn here in LA for the Lakers.
Chick Hearn for basketball. Bob Miller for the Kings. But nobody can touch.
No.
I mean, there's nobody that even compares. There are people who come close, but he was one of a kind. He's the only one. And like you say, Steve, 70 years doing this job, 67 years doing this job.
Yeah.
Something just amazing. The guy it's everything an announcer should be in a game. That's what it is.
I want to add to Greg's stuff, Greg, if you're done.
Yep. Go for it.
Because I'm going to say 45 years of my life, I grew up with his voice. So, yeah, it's deeply personal, but it's also, I'm glad you pointed out the fact that he called other games. He called because of contract. People, not just Dodger fans, knew his voice. And certainly knew his importance to the game. Mm-hmm. So, it's, God, raising a toast, raising a glass, giving a cheer out to this guy is like, good God, like I can't even express how hard it was over the last 36 hours it's been, but my God, what a great voice. And that call, game one of the '88 series was unbelievable. Like, I even posted just the call of the Gibson moment. But if you go back to, and God forgive me, I'm forgetting the hitter who was up before him, Steve. If you can help me, if you remember.
Before Gibson?
Before Gibson.
It was
Steve Baldwin.
It was Steve Baldwin.
It was the Mike Davis.
Mike Davis.
Who walked.
Okay. Right, who got the walk. And then if you go back, you can watch the whole game, but if you watch just those two moments, which is a really long time, Dave, thank you for pointing that out, by the way. The Gibson at bat is incredibly long. Like how many fouls he hits, how many, we get to a 3-2 count. It's just, I don't know, it's drama that's not staged. It's just so perfect. It's so perfect. Yeah.
You know what's interesting about that at bat? You guys both mentioned the pitch count. I think it's like 7 or 9 pitches, but the difference is that there was no, there's a timer between pitches now in games. Yeah. So the pitcher has to get back on the rubber and throw. It wasn't like that back then. There's a couple of, I think there's a couple of foul balls, and there's one that Gibson hits that he's got to run down the line and try to sprint, and you can tell he can't run.
He's got nothing. He's got nothing.
Zero.
Oh.
It
It made that home run all the more impressive because he couldn't push off. He couldn't push onto anything. That was all upper body strength. That muscled that out.
And great for both of you calling that out. Let's talk about it. It is Vin. It's the moment for Vin, but you're talking about a moment where there is a guy that has not one but 2 serious leg injuries in this game, and you can see it. Like, I think even Vin calls it at one point during that moment, and this is what was brilliant about Vin. He didn't let that moment pass, and he calls him out. He's like, I think he makes the comparison like almost like a simile, where he calls out Kirk Gibson like a horse who has like, God, what did he say? Something like muscle spasms, where his legs are twitching, and you could see it on the really bad grainy 80s video. But it's just like, God, I don't know, something about Vin and the way he would tell stories and compare them to the moments that were happening.
I don't know. I don't have a Vin Scully story, but I have a Steve Baldwin story about Scully that I'll tell, which is that Steve and I were at an Angels game once, and I still don't remember how that happened, but we were wandering around the stadium, and we passed one of those memorabilia stores, little pop-up things that they have there, and one of the items that we found was an autographed microphone from Vin Scully that was for sale there. And
wow.
Watching Steve's face kind of freeze and light up, it's an expression that I've only seen one other time, and that was the first time we visited Batuu at Disneyland and rounded the corner and saw the Millennium Falcon together for the first time. That you fixated on it, and then you kind of looked at me like, how much trouble do you think I'd get in with Lisa for buying that microphone?
Yeah, I'd forgotten about that.
And my answer was, that's the wrong question, sir. The correct question is, will the amount of trouble be worth it?
Yeah, I remember that. So the Dodgers, thanks for recalling that, Dave. That was that was incredible to see that thing and just to be near that thing. The Dodgers have a great monument to Vin Scully at the top of the stadium, behind the stadium. If you know Dodger Stadium, it's layered, and the very top of the stadium there's monuments to players, and there's a huge microphone, and I think it just says Vin.
Yeah.
And you can take a picture with it, and it's great. So next time you're at the ballpark, get up there and pay homage to the great Vin Scully. Well, thanks guys for letting us take some time and honor him and who he was and the man that he was, and there's no replacing him. He hasn't
never be another.
He hasn't announced games. I think he's maybe 5 or 6 seasons retired. Does that sound about right?
It was 2017, 2016 maybe.
Yeah. And I was thinking about that today, but so even though we haven't heard his voice, as the play-by-play announcer, the world is just a little bit less joyful today without Vin in it. I have to say, it just feels a little bit strange to have him not with us. It's just weird,
Yeah, and that's the thing. He's 94. You know, it's not like he didn't live a long life. It's not like he didn't work for the Dodgers for 70 years, but it's something that has been around for all of our entire lives. So,
yeah. All right. Well, let's move on, guys. Vin.
Soldier forward.
The game must go on. The podcast must go on. And Godspeed. Godspeed, Mr. Scully. Cheers. All right, guys. What do we want to hit first? We want to talk about Comic-Con. We want to talk about Stranger Things. We want to talk about Andor. What do you guys want to do?
Let's do Comic-Con.
All right.
You're the producer, man.
All right. Let's talk about some pop culture news. Here we go.
From ABC News World Headquarters, this is ABC World News Tonight.
No, it's not. It's Star Wars news with the Wretched Hive.
So be it.
Every now and then we get Sirius on the show, and it's a little weird. I don't know where to go. But we're gonna march forward. Put on the Imperial March theme. We're going straight ahead. And we are talking about Comic-Con 2022. Some big announcements coming out of Comic-Con, specifically for Marvel. Guys, I want to run down the Phase 5 calendar that was released during Comic-Con.
Steve, I really want to jump in on this, but I just got to say, I really wish Marvel.
It's up to you, producer. And
No. Before you say anything at all, let me jump in with some commentary and some color, please.
Hey, I've been out of it for 2 months, so give me a break for 1 second. And you killed my moment. So here it is.
This is true.
This is true.
We killed your moment, huh? All right.
I did, because all I was going to say was, I wish Marvel would have given us just a little bit. You think they could have given us anything?
You don't think this is
you know, it's fortuitous because so the last time we actually had a show, there was just 3 of us that were on there. We talked about Thor: Love and Thunder for the most part, and for my part, nothing but confusion about what was going on with Phase 4. And thank God for Comic-Con, because all that is fucking gone now. And I'm not even being facetious about it. Like, they listened to our podcast and fuck, we got to set Greg Lynch straight. So let's announce everything that's going on.
Everything. They literally left 7 slots open. That's it. 7.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well,
what are you doing, Steve, in 2030? Because you know what Marvel's doing.
I think I have the schedule only down through 2025. So if you've got beyond that, maybe you can
actually.
All right, good. Well, you can tell me if I get this right. Okay, so, some big announcements. First of all, Secret Invasion. Is that the first? I hope I'm going in order here. Secret Invasion, spring of 2023. And that's going to be coming out on Disney Plus. Does that sound?
That's the show. That's the show with Nick Fury and Ben Mendelsohn as the Skrull leader Talos, who was last seen in last seen in Spider-Man, Far From Home, posing as Nick Fury for the entirety of the movie.
Do we know if that's going to be a one and done? Is it a 1 season, 6 episode run, or is it multiple?
The impression we've been given is that it's a 1 season show, but the premise of it will not necessarily be contained to that show in that 1 season.
Well, that's the beauty of Marvel. Yeah.
Let's just call them springboards for everything else.
But
that's really what it is.
That is an important tidbit for that particular storyline, Steve, just because the comic book storyline is about Skrulls replacing superheroes throughout the Marvel universe. And you're dealing with people that you think you know, but now suddenly you don't know if is that really, Captain Marvel, or is that a Skrull? Or is that Spider-Man, or is that a Skrull? And that was the fun part of that particular comic storyline for the 18 months that it was ongoing.
So, Steve, if the multiverse hasn't already fucked up your brain with how things work, Secret Invasion is just going to add a whole new level to that.
By the way, I do love immediately when we get into the Marvel talk, you guys start talking to me like I'm 2.
Oh, Steve,
which is perfect.
You're so cute when you think that.
Which is perfectly leveled. It's perfectly leveled for me.
Greg, I'm gonna call you out right now. You need to get what is it, Steve Vai's Passion and Warfare, and get some sound bites off of there, because there's a whole thing where it's a guy talking to a little Stevie, and it's all child talk. You need to get that, and we're gonna just use that every time we're talking Marvel with Steve.
All right.
Oh, okay, Stevie.
Okay, we got.
I'm on the case.
All right, we got Secret Invasion, spring 2022. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 in the summer of 2023.
May 5th.
Feature film in theaters May 5th, 2023.
Which apparently they showed a trailer in the room for that. Surprisingly, I haven't seen any of the bootleg footage online yet, but
and had the cast nearly in tears. So
yeah,
this is going to be an interesting one.
Oh, because are they sad that it's ending, or why were they in tears?
Yes, this will be. James Gunn did announce this will be the end of the Guardians as we know them.
Wow.
This iteration of the Guardians.
Okay.
Yes.
That being said, the Guardians, kind of like the Avengers, have a rotating lineup.
But what we do know, and if you want to throw a oh god, no, I shouldn't say that. Spoiler.
Oh, do we need the spoiler?
No,
alert?
we do not.
No, we're okay.
All right, okay,
fine.
all right. Wasn't thrown out there. Okay.
It is going to deal a lot with.
Wait, spoiler
Rocket.
alert. With who?
With Rocket's origin story.
Oh yeah, that's not a spoiler. That's even I knew that. All right. Here's one I have no idea what this is. What is Echo? Summer of 2023.
Echo is a spin-off of Hawkeye.
Oh.
So if you'll remember, there's a deaf character in Hawkeye.
Yeah.
That is not Hawkeye. It's a female.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's her.
Oh, cool.
Echo. Yeah. It's her storyline.
I'm assuming it'll tie into the Daredevil show that they also announced.
Oh yeah,
I'm assuming that as well.
Because she was the adopted niece, if you will, of Kingpin.
Yeah.
In the Hawkeye show.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, Loki. Loki season 2, also in the summer of 2023. Man, that's a lot of stuff in the summer of 2023.
I know.
Wow.
Sorry.
Stoked for Loki. Love me some Loki. Also in 2023, buy your tickets now. Take my money. Blade.
Yeah.
Blade in November of 2023.
November 3rd.
Yes, November 3rd, exactly. Right.
Oh my god.
Mark your calendars.
So this is all phase 5.
Phase 5,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's clear out that phase 4 will end this year. Phase 4 will officially be over this year.
Okay.
November.
And the final phase 5 movie again is
Wait, phase 4
Forever.
movie?
Wakanda Forever. Oh my god, the fucking trailer for how could I forget that?
Yeah.
Oh my
Well,
god.
we still have phase 5 stuff going on.
Phase 4 is going to close out with She-Hulk.
Yep.
The TV show, then Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever, and as an epilogue, if you will, the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special in December of 2022.
That's right.
Okay.
You skipped over all of this year's stuff, Steve.
I'm sorry. My bad.
Let's go back to phase 5.
I went straight to phase 5 timeline. Sorry.
Greg, Steve wants to really get the hell out of phase 4 right now.
I really
as we all do. I mean, let's
yeah.
be real. We all are ready for phase 4 to be over. Yes. Although, again, just off of the trailer that they put out for Wakanda Forever, oh my god, I feel like we're all going to be just crying, just babies for that whole thing.
That was a strong trailer.
Very powerful.
I'm with you guys 100% on that. I really am. I'm not going to, but I have to say something there. I'm not going to jump in. I'm actually just going to say something.
It's too late. You're jumping in.
Do you think that even though they caught us with the feels, there are a couple moments I spotted, and Marvel fans on this show, please tell me I'm wrong, that they hinted at some serious like reveals. Like one is obviously
Well, that doesn't sound like a Marvel trailer at all, Scott.
Not at all.
So what's the reveal? The trailer's out there, so.
There's a couple things throughout the whole trailer, but I'm going to say the main one is that they do show the Black Panther at the end of the trailer. But
yes,
a lot of people are speculating about one thing or something that you constantly see throughout the trailer, which is obviously T'Challa is gone, but you have the entire female cast, are taking the lead on this, which is amazing. But I think it's something bigger. I think there's something else. And if you know the comics, there's a possibility of something major happening there. And I'm going to leave it vague like that, but I want to see if anyone else is kind of picking up on that, or if you're just stuck on maybe it's going to be Suri or one of the other cast members that are still around.
Okay, so I haven't kept up on recent Black Panther comics, and when I say recent, I'm meaning since like the 90s. Okay. So, but I do know that at one point, T'Challa, the character played by Chadwick Boseman, married Storm of the X-Men. So I don't know if that's where you're going, but I guess that could be a possibility because mutants are now a thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's the way they'll go. And I'm just going to throw out there, because it came up about Namor being a thing in this movie, and that's obvious that's where they're going, but it's not going to be Atlantis, because there's an Atlantis in Aquaman, obviously, and they're renaming the land where Namor comes from. I forget what the name of it was, though. I'm lacking in my duties. Yes.
Is that a rumor, or is that for real?
I've read it on a couple sites now that it's not going to be Atlantis. They're going to give it an MCU name, is what they're going to do.
Really? All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to throw out, since we're just talking about Black Panther, my big question is, when we see the funeral of T'Challa, is that in real time, meaning post-Endgame, or is that during the snap, when Black Panther was dead, when T'Challa was snapped out of existence? Are we going to get a multi-pronged story about T'Challa's death, return, and then perhaps death again?
So I thought about that, Dave. That's a great point. Man,
it's
Steve,
quite a tease.
I kind of hope they don't do that. I really hope that they just treat it like it is. Like, they don't force a fake situation upon us. They just address the fact that he is gone, and then we move on to a bigger world of Wakanda. And when I say Wakanda, I should take that back, because it's now, and I'm sorry that I didn't even know that about the Atlantis thing. I'm still going to refer to it as that until I know what the name is. But the whole Namor as the villain, which is great, by the way, what a hell of a way to introduce Namor into this. And we do get to see him in the trailer, so that's great too.
Yeah,
with the little wings on his feet. Like I said, put socks on him and he can't fly anymore.
Wings on his feet, amazing.
There were no tiny wings in the trailer that I saw.
What?
You need to look closer, sir. You need to look closer.
Go back to that trailer, man.
Were there tiny wings? Were they there?
Yeah,
I legit didn't see them. They were there?
Oh yeah. Full on.
Fucking A, man.
All right, we've got more. We've got more Phase 5. We can't skip the middle of 2023, guys. We've got more.
Phase 5. We're off of Wakanda now. We're back into Phase 5.
Okay, what about Ironheart? Ironheart
is a character that we haven't met yet in the MCU.
Okay,
but she is in Black Panther too, so it's a great segue.
Right. So go back to the trailer to Wakanda Forever, and you will see the beginning of Ironheart in the trailer.
Oh.
They're actually punching out the iron chest with the heart. So you actually get to see a moment or a glimpse of that character.
Yeah, and the actress that plays Ironheart is seen shaking hands with Suri at one point in the trailer.
Yeah.
So Ironheart is a derivative of Iron Man.
Did you plan that out, Steve? It's almost like you planned that out, that we'd break into the Black Panther trailer, and then you broke right into Ironheart.
I might have to stop talking to you like you're two.
Exactly.
Somebody's been reading his comics.
No.
Chris has been feeding him info again.
Pure luck. And that, just remember, that came right after Blade. So I'm just saying. Okay, next up, Agatha, Coven of Chaos.
Yeah, they changed the title.
Now we're at the winter of 2023 and into 2024. So this is Agatha from WandaVision, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Agatha Harkness.
See, I'm up to age 4 now.
She's gonna. So Steve, just for your specific needs here.
Will Wanda be in this show?
She's gonna be a badass witch.
Yeah.
But she's also gonna be a babysitter to a possible new group coming around. So
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the
They're
badass
a-
witch I'm down with. I don't know where you're going with the babysitter thing. That's kind of
They're a
horrible.
fantastic group. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh, a fantastic group.
A fantastic, and I hear there's a rumor there's 4 of them.
Well, before we get there, even
I don't know
though
if
they
she's
may,
4,
may
but
be
there's
coming
probably
later.
going to be less than
Wait.
5.
Did she babysit Franklin? Is that?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
She was Franklin
Okay.
Richards' nanny for a point.
That's badass.
I don't know
And
what
if you
the
don't know who
significant.
Franklin Richards is,
Why are
ask
you
your
listening to the show?
ask your friends.
Because I'm the host. It's the only
Go,
reason.
go talk to Kang. I hear he knows a lot about all this stuff. That's all.
He's really trying to get to the shining gem of Phase 5
I'm
here
really,
right now.
I'm really trying to
You really are.
track the connections, and it's just not possible. It's just
Oh my
it's just
God.
not possible. Captain America: New World Order.
Wait, you skipped the shining gem of Phase 5.
I did?
Which is Daredevil Born Again.
Oh,
Yes.
Well, I have Captain America in May, and then Daredevil in I guess okay. Do you have a date for Daredevil?
No, just early 2024.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have spring, so yeah, you're probably right. And then Captain America. So Daredevil, 18 episode series. So 3 mini seasons, right? 3 6-season run or whatever, 6 episode runs or whatever you want to call it.
So
we discussed this on our text thread amongst ourselves. Born Again, one of my favorite all-time comics runs ever.
Yeah.
It is surprisingly short. It really only lasts 5 issues. It is not a long run at all. The 6th issue is kind of a prologue. It has to do with what's the Guardian or whatever it is, the guy who makes the suits, and it really doesn't have a whole lot to do with this. It's a prologue, I will give you that, but it's not really involved in, like, you could skip that whole issue and not miss a beat of the story. It's fantastic, and they've used bits and pieces of that story, I think, in season 3 of the Netflix show. So it's going to be a reimagining of what Born Again was, but I am really stoked that they are going with the Born Again title. It means a lot for comics. It'll mean a lot for this character because it's really it's a rebirth after the whole living on Netflix for a while.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about the show. I have known nothing about it. I only know that Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio, who are the 2 absolute best characters from the Netflix show, are coming back. I don't know anything about the showrunners. I hope they get the same guys because it was 1 superb first season and 2 really good follow-up seasons.
I'm going to tell you, Greg, as far as I know, and maybe it's just rumors right now, but some of the talk out there is showrunners are coming on board as well. So
Excellent.
If Disney does this right, they could take what they've already shown in season 3, add into the concept of Born Again. They could do it in a way that would show bits and pieces of what's already existed to tie it into the new phase of Daredevil and make this absolutely hands down and for me and for all purposes Disney hands off, make this the season 4 we really want.
Okay, quick question about this Daredevil. Is Born Again the 5-issue series from Frank Miller?
Yes.
Yes, it's Frank Miller's Frank Miller's last regular series work on Daredevil, and Greg is not underselling it when he says it's one of my favorite all-time comic series as well. Leave superhero, leave publisher out. It's fan-frickin-tastic.
Yeah.
So you guys will be proud. I just read those 5.
Oh
wow!
Yes, just read.
So good.
He meets Elektra, right? There's an Elektra connection.
No, Elektra's not in this.
Oh,
series
so this
at
is
all.
a different one then.
Yeah, you might have read some of the earlier Frank Miller stuff.
Okay.
The original Frank Miller.
Maybe it was the original one. It's the origin story for him.
Oh, that's Daredevil: The Man Without Fear. That's a
Yes.
Frank Miller limited series. Yes,
Yes.
which is also amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also,
Okay, that's
amazing.
the one
Maybe
I
not
read.
one of the best things I've ever read, but an amazing bit of work for the character.
It was cool.
It is an origin story. It came out after Born Again, but like Dave said, it was not in the regular series run of Daredevil. It was a separate
Like a
limited
standalone.
series.
Okay.
Yes.
That's the one I read. All right.
That one's
Good
really good.
stuff.
Also.
I'm proud of you for picking that up, my friend. I am.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm trying. Not hard enough. All
Yeah,
right.
sorry to just fawn all over this, knowing nothing about it. And at 18 episodes, that is way more time than you need to tell the Born Again story that's in the comics. That really shouldn't take more than 4 to 5 hours to do that.
So saying that, Dave, what do you think they're going to add in as Disney wants to obviously use this as a connecting point to probably more episodes down the road? What do you think?
I have no idea. I
Yeah.
kind of hope they do some kind of a mix of maybe adapting that Daredevil Man Without Fear series that I just referenced,
Okay.
and have that running as a, dual timeline concurrent with the Born Again storyline to put him through that. Because I can't believe, knowing what that storyline means to comic book fans, I can't believe Disney would touch that title for Daredevil without including it somehow in the actual storyline. There would be riots in the streets.
Well, so Netflix touched on, obviously we got Kingpin, and then second season we got Elektra and we got Punisher, and all major players. And wait, we got in season 3, was it Bullseye? Do you guys remember? It was Bullseye, right? The one that was mimicking other people.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's right.
It was a different, almost like a different version of Bullseye. Kind of weird, but okay, yeah, I see it. I'm just curious because he had some other pretty big villains. I'm trying to think of who else they could pull in there. They had Typhoid Mary at one point.
Mary. I think that you base a story that's going to run 18 episodes. I think you base it around the Kingpin, personally.
Yeah.
I don't know where else you'd really go with that.
I love, if you guys all, and we've all watched Hawkeye, right? We've all seen it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we know where Hawkeye ends with the Kingpin, but that's also a pretty famous storyline where Kingpin's obviously not dead.
Yes.
So, but is blinded at some point. So you think that's the path they're going with him, and they're going to bring him back to become a major background character of...
I don't know. I think Echo's going to set all that up, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, Steve. I had to go down that road for a second.
No problem.
Had a moment.
No worries. No, I think we're all looking forward to that. It's going to be great. Captain America, New World Order. Any hints on this one? Any thoughts about this one?
It'll be Sam Wilson, obviously, and I know nothing else about it.
Okay.
Can I make a suggestion?
I don't even know if it'll have a Winter Soldier in it. I don't know.
Let's speculate, because if what we think is coming, because Steve's going to mention it pretty soon.
Hey, can you lower your microphone?
Me?
Scott? Yeah, is that your...
I'm sorry. I'm also
That's okay.
coughing. I'm trying to balance it. I want to speculate on that real quick since you brought it up. Just real quick. I think Sam Wilson obviously is the new Captain America, but obviously I think where we're going to go with this.
That's a bold guess there, Scott. That's a bold guess.
That's
Slow
not
down.
the bold part.
Slow down.
Not the bold part, guys. I'm you know what? COVID brain. I'm working a little slower than normal, and I know you guys all think I'm slow anyway, but that's all right. So here's the catch. I think what they're going to be doing is setting up something Steve's going to talk about, which is Thunderbolts. I think we're going to be introduced to U.S. Agent and where his connection is going to be to the Thunderbolts team.
I'll give you a bold guess with no basis whatsoever.
Yeah.
The post-credit scene for Black Panther 2 will introduce us to Doctor Doom.
Oh, I like that. That's way bold. I like that. Yeah.
Putting some money on the line, Mr.
It's
Potter.
going out on a limb for sure.
Okay. You heard it here first, folks. All right. Well, Scott, you
guys,
read...
I think they're going to reimagine Star Wars, and Rey's going to be a Kenobi.
Man, they're going to tell the truth finally. Yeah, Scott, you read my mind or read the list that I've got in front of me. Thunderbolts in July of 2024 in theaters.
Marvel Suicide Squad.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yes, that's actually quite apropos.
Yeah.
It is the team of villains, but they're not quite villain like the Suicide Squad as the movie universe goes. They're straight up villains. They're not quite setting it up that way in the MCU because we've already got U.S. Agent, as you mentioned. Yeah. We're gonna have Yelena Belova as Black Widow. She is going to be one of the Thunderbolts here. So they're not quite villains per se. They were in the comics. It was all straight up. It was literally the Marvel Suicide Squad. Yeah. In the comics, they're going a different route here. What they won't have, and obviously they're called the Thunderbolts, named after Thunderbolt Ross. They won't have Thunderbolt Ross because William Hurt died.
Are we going to see a recast on that, or are we going to see Marvel kind of taking on the fact that he's dead and maybe kind of like what's his name, the computer guy Zola,
Arnim Zola?
Yeah. Are we going to see him reimagined in a computer form, assembling this team of, let's call them morally compromised misfits? How about that?
Sure. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good point.
I think it's going to be the Julia Louis-Dreyfus character.
Oh yeah,
that we've been seeing. And the thing about Thunderbolts is it became Marvel Suicide Squad, but the original conceit of it was a group of villains pretending to be heroes.
That's right.
Pretending to be heroes, and then some of them getting caught up in the pretend part of it and wanting to find a way to go on the straight and narrow, which puts them in conflict with the people who are just pretending to be heroes but want to continue to be villains.
Right.
And I don't think there's a way to do that in a film, but damn, that was a great story to read in the comics.
I know. And when it was all starting to come around, when Julia Louis-Dreyfus first showed up, I was like, holy shit, they're going to go down the Thunderbolts path. This is crazy. Yeah. And then, of course, we lost him, a year ago? Was it a year ago?
I think it was longer than that, maybe, but it's been, the past 2 years have all been fuzzy, so it's been sometime in this COVID era here.
I don't know what you're talking about, Greg.
And
if I'm not mistaken, because again, my post 1998 comic book reading was on the light size, Thunderbolt Ross also became the Red Hulk too. Is that right?
That is
true.
So they'll have to find a new Red Hulk.
Yeah.
Well, Steve, there's a version of the Hulk who's red. I don't know if you're aware of this or not.
I was aware of it, but I'm not sure why it's significant or why should I care.
Greg, look at your screen.
That's a fair response, Steve.
Look at my hands, giving you the warning. Don't blow his mind and talk about World War Hulk, okay? This will just freak him out. There's a whole shit ton of Hulks, okay? Just watch out. And there's incest, which gets really fucked up, okay?
Hulk incest?
Yeah. Yes.
Jesus. Exactly. Why? I don't. Okay.
Which is thankfully we didn't get that in the Logan movie, which it should have been in the Logan movie. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Sorry. I'm sorry I crushed your spirit right there, Steve.
No,
we'll
fine.
We'll move past that. It.
Wait, does a red and a blue Hulk make a purple Hulk? I mean, is it?
Let me tell you, it does deal with She-Hulk. So let's just.
Oh Jesus.
She does more than break the fourth wall. That's all I'm gonna say.
Wow. All right. Fantastic Four, I guess, is up next, and I have the date on that somewhere.
November 2024.
Yes, November 8th, 2024. Very good day.
So, you may have mentioned it in passing, but let's be really clear about it. So, Thunderbolts is the end of Phase 5.
Oh.
Fantastic Four, the beginning of Phase 6.
Oh, thank you.
Right.
I wasn't aware of that.
That's
I
right.
did not have that in my notes here.
Mm-hmm.
That's Phase 6. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so Avengers Secret Wars is then Phase 6?
Yes.
Yeah, so Kang Dynasty
first.
Okay.
And then Avengers Secret War is supposedly the ending of Phase 6.
So, also like we discussed on the last episode when it was just the three of us talking about Thor, they are taking a similar approach. they've dubbed the first 3 phases the Infinity Saga. They've dubbed the phases 4, 5, 6 the Multiverse Saga.
Yeah.
And they will wrap up phase 6 with 2 Avengers movies, just like they did in the Infinity Saga.
So the Multiverse Saga ends with
Secret Wars.
Secret Wars.
Yep.
End of
Now,
phase 6. Okay.
To make it even more confusing for you, Steve, there are 2 Secret Wars stories.
Oh, I knew you were going to do this.
One took place in the 80s.
Yes.
And it had to do with an all-powerful supernatural being kidnapping a bunch of heroes, transporting them to Battle World, and just making them fight it out like action figures.
Hold on.
The series literally
Greg?
was conceived to sell those action figures. That is the sole reason that
awesome.
this comic book series exists.
True.
Wait, did George Lucas produce it? Wait.
Hold on. Both Greg and Dave, I'm pointing at them on my screen, are absolutely 100% true. However, please do not let out don't forget the fact that Venom was introduced at this point.
Yeah, well, yes and no. The black suit of Spider-Man was introduced in issue number 8 of the first Secret Wars series.
That's right.
And that black suit eventually becomes Venom, but it is not Venom that appears; it is the black suit that appears.
Right.
There was a sequel to that 12-issue series that came out a few years later.
Secret Wars 2.
Secret Wars 2. But there was another Secret Wars that I know nothing about that came out in 2010. Something like that. Can I get a little backup on that one? I know nothing about what that series is, but it's entirely different.
So there's actually
it's not about Battle Planet.
There's actually 3 Secret Wars series.
No, we're going on too many rabbit holes. We're just going to stick with Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars, which was the original 80s series.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then Secret Wars, which is the later series that I think is going to be the basis for this Avengers movie.
I think Dave's right on that.
That was the culmination of a years-long storyline in the Avengers comics that involved incursions of multiverse realities, one crossing into another and basically obliterating both of them.
Which is
that's why I brought up the 2 different Secret Wars, because I don't know what they're going with here, because I don't know what the new one is, and I'm intimately familiar with the old one, but the fact that there are 2 just confuses me.
And
the fact that the incursion concept and the multiverse concept have been referenced now in Doctor Strange leads me to think that they're talking about that one, the later one. But Greg's
Fair
right.
enough.
We don't know. It could be something completely different. It could be something that has nothing to do with anything.
Okay, so Dave is absolutely right. I'm going to go down Dave's path. But do not disregard what Greg over here, I'm pointing at them on my screen, because there's one other weird thing that you already mentioned, Steve, that ties all of this nonsense together, and that is
Han
Secret
Solo.
Invasion. Well, no. Secret Invasion falls in between those 2 Secret Wars events that happen. I mean, there's a long period of time that all happens, right? Dave, isn't that? I'm going to throw this to Dave, but I feel like
in that there's literally 30 years of publishing history between them. A lot of things fall between Marvel Superhero Secret Wars and then the Jonathan Hickman Secret Wars book.
But Nico literally falls in between those 2 series.
Most of Nico's life falls between those 2 series.
That is an unfair analysis, because you're talking about the first Secret Wars, not Secret Wars 2, the sequel to the 1980s Secret Wars. There's less than 30 years.
Scott,
Are you guys tired of us saying Secret Wars yet?
You know I love you and you're one of my best friends, but fuck Secret Wars 2. Just fuck it right in the ear.
Wow.
You are right. You are right.
It's really
waste
bad.
of time.
In the
It
ear?
is really bad. It's really bad.
It's disgusting.
Jim Shooter's wet dream of I am the best comic writer ever series, and it's just horrible.
No
what
lie.
an exercise.
I'm not going to disagree.
Yeah.
Wow.
The first Secret Wars, like Dave said, while being designed to sell action figures, was outrageously successful.
It was.
And Jim Shooter, who was the guy that was in charge of the comics division of Marvel, which is pretty much all there was. There was no movie division at the time. It was entirely comics, and Jim Shooter was in charge of it all as the editor in chief. He said, "Hey, if why not just make more money and we'll make a Secret Wars 2? And this, you know what? I'm gonna write this one. I got this, guys. I got it." And it is awful. It is so bad.
Because the original Secret Wars was the first mega crossover event in comics, really. It was the first time that the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, and the X-Men were all together in the same extended storyline, along with Spider-Man and the Incredible Hulk and some other hangers-on. And it really should be just completely stupid and worthless and not at all interesting.
But it's fun.
It is fun for what it is. If you're a 10-year-old boy, that's a fun comic book series to read. Because it's a lot of fights and it's not a lot of character development.
But to be fair, it's 5 guys who are all very adult here talking about basically a podcast about Star Wars from 1977. That's why we exist. And that's why I say it's very fair to say it's a fun limited 12 issue limited series.
I'm just trying to make a point. Secret Wars 2 has absolutely none of the charm or redeeming qualities of it, and just ups the excess factor exponentially.
So you're saying if I have limited time and limited
for the
resources,
love of God, do not.
Do not go with Secret Wars 2.
I will give you a list of 15 shitty comic series to read that are going to be better than Secret Wars 2 if this is what you want to do.
I will go even beyond that and say watch at least 10 of the shows recommended by any of our wives.
Hold on. I have something to interrupt with real quick. Hold on. Wait a minute.
Oh,
it's a little game we like to call Star Wars Choices.
Wow.
Think of a hard choice you'll face in the near future.
Choose.
Okay, would you rather be intimate with a Wookiee?
Choose wisely.
Or be intimate with Oola, but Jabba gets to watch?
I just assumed he's a Wookiee.
Star Wars Choices, impromptu, unplanned, on the Wretched Hive podcast. You won't get this anywhere, folks. Anywhere else on the internet.
I love it that I have this on my soundboard because Steve had no idea this was coming.
Yeah, that blew my mind.
It did. It was messing me up.
And it was good sound quality, Greg. Good job. It sounded good. Well done.
Reading assignment choices for us today, guys. Do we read Secret Wars #2?
Yeah.
From late 80s-ish, whatever it
85.
was.
And the 2 in the title is very, very evocative of #2. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
Or do we read The Courtship of Princess Leia? Dave, go.
Oh,
damn.
Wow.
I've got that somewhere. Where is that?
I'm actually going to pick Secret Wars 2 just because there is a slight nostalgia factor there for me. I read it as an 11-year-old, and I was just like, well, this has got to get better at some point, right? And it just doesn't. Courtship of Princess Leia, I read as an adult male, and I should have known better.
Scott, what do you got? Your choices on the board. Courtship of Princess Leia, Secret Wars 2.
Okay, this might be a first, but I'm actually going to go down the Dave path on this and say, because of my age at the time, I should have known better at some point, probably by issue #3, that Secret Wars 2 was going to be... Okay, 2. Dave's saying 2, but I'm going to go 3. I'll give it a little bit of a fair chance.
Issue 2 features Spider-Man teaching the Beyonder to go to the bathroom. And that was really the moment where I should have pulled the ripcord, but I did not.
So in comparison, as an adult, I read The Courtship of Princess Leia, and I thought, this isn't a sequel to anything. This literally just came out as shit. So I don't know why am I doing this after page 25?
So what's your vote? What's your vote?
All
Scott?
apologies to Dave Wolverton, who wrote that book. I'm sorry.
Secret Wars 2. That's where I'm going.
So it's 2 for #2 is what it is so far.
2 for the #2.
Nico, you're up next.
I've read The Courtship of Princess Leia. I've not read Secret Wars 2. So you know what? Fuck it. Give me Secret Wars.
Wow.
Yeah. You know what? This is a first. Please isolate this right now. Nico is a better man than all of us. That's all I'm going to say because he hasn't read one of them. So that's good.
Steve.
All right,
on
this
you.
is really difficult because I trust Dave Potter almost more than anybody on this planet when it comes to this stuff. But he's really confused me now because the Dave from 3 minutes ago said, whatever you do, don't read Secret Wars. And then he picked Secret Wars over Courtship.
Oh, yeah.
Greg has confounded me by finding something that I like even less.
This is the perfect Star Wars choices.
It is.
I'm going to go with Dave's first instinct, and I'm going to read Courtship of Princess Leia.
Oh, you will regret that.
God
you will
damn.
regret that, sir.
Wow.
I'm going to regret either one.
I'm gonna finish it off and go with Secret Wars #2, only because it is much shorter than reading all of A Courtship of Princess Leia.
Are you reading all the crossover issues too, though, sir? Because remember,
No, fuck
crossed
that, man.
over.
I didn't-
It crossed over into every Marvel comic that was published at the time.
That's
did.
That's
it
right.
did, but that's not part of the reading assignment.
my
You
God.
only
All right,
have
I'm
to
gonna-
read the main series.
I got to close this out. Got to close it out. Oh, my God. Wow.
All right. Can I talk a little seriously about Phase 5 and Phase 6 though, real quick?
Yeah.
Let's get
Okay.
serious.
After that nonsense we just pulled?
Yeah. So there were two projects, Steve, that you did skip over for Phase 5, and those are the launch projects.
Okay, fill me in.
Ant-Man Wasp 3 Quantumania.
Oh, right.
That's right.
Yeah.
February of 2023, and What If Season 2, which will launch in early 2023, I believe, before Secret Invasion. Now, what I find kind of interesting, looking over the whole of this, is they don't announce any TV projects after Daredevil Born Again. So we have, if we believe that they aren't going to do TV projects, that would mean that there is a gap between Captain America 4 and Thunderbolts of 2.5 months, and then a gap from late July to early November for Fantastic Four. And I just don't believe that. I think there are TV projects here for the end of Phase 5 and all of Phase 6 that they have not clued us in on. And I know there are movies in Phase 6 and beyond that they haven't announced. Marvel is holding 2 dates, February 24th, 2025, and July 25th, 2025, for movie releases that they have not announced yet. And they have 4 dates secured with theaters in 2026 for films for Phase 7, but they haven't announced them yet. What could those films be?
What could they be?
What could they be?
So
there's a Shang-Chi 2 that needs to come out. There's a Deadpool 3 that needs to come out.
Yep.
There's probably an Eternals 2 and a Doctor Strange 3 that needs to come out. My guess is there will be a Spider-Man 4 at some point.
It's already been announced, right?
Not formally announced. There will also probably be an X-Men movie, whether it's called X-Men or The Mutants. And I remain positive, I've been saying this for years, there will be a Nova project at some point. So there's a lot of stuff that Marvel has on the board that they haven't turned over yet, and maybe that's what they're saving for D3 in a couple months.
Okay.
D23.
Yes. D23, sorry.
And I also agree that is why they held those dates open, because there's lots of glaring holes, basically arrows saying insert name here on their little Phase 6 calendar that they put out. And I think all those announcements will be made at D23, like you mentioned. What I did hear that was interesting, and I have not followed up. I heard this from a friend. He said he read it on a website somewhere, which I know is like the worst possible sourcing you could get. I am one step below comic book news right now, but I'm gonna throw it out there anyway. Is what the story I heard is that all of the Fox contracts that the various actors were signed to stipulate that there can be no movie announcements without their approval. So they're holding all announcements of cast, of movies, of whatever, until these contracts from Fox expire so they can negotiate their own Disney deals, if you will, which I thought was interesting and also kind of makes a lot of sense of why we haven't seen anything up until this point.
Yeah.
I have seen that too. There is no evidence to back it up, but it, as you say, it makes perfect sense based on what we're observing of Marvel's behavior towards that property, which is easily the biggest property that they've acquired on this. When you look at all the Netflix stuff, The Fantastic Four, all of that. Easily, X-Men and the Mutants are the biggest one.
Yeah. And let's add something to that. You brought up Nova. Nova's actor was announced on stage at Comic-Con. He was on stage, and they did talk to him about that character. So that is going to be a big entity going forward at this point. So
I hope so. It's a fun character.
Yeah.
Now, just to build on something we were talking about in the thread, we were all talking about how Phase 4 was a little meh for us, just for lack of a better term. And I will say that a meh product from Marvel is still pretty good, just not living up to, higher standards that they've achieved elsewhere. I did some work today, and I did some math, because I wanted to illustrate a point.
Okay.
And that is the volume of content that Marvel Studios and Disney has produced for Phase 4 versus, say, Phase 3. So the total amount of content, if I add up the runtime for all the movies that were released for Phase 3, which are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 films, totaled 25 hours and 1 minute worth of content. For Phase 4, so far to date, and I don't have runtime information because it's not been released yet, obviously, for She-Hulk, the TV series, Black Panther 2, the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, and rumors that there will be some type of a Marvel Halloween special as well that'll come out this year. But even without all that, the total amount of content that has been produced and released to us thus far is 46 hours and 4 minutes.
Wow.
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 No wonder it feels like nothing's happened.
Exactly.
Wow.
That could have been cut down a little bit if they chopped Captain America.
Eternals?
No, well, Eternals. I know we had that discussion. I had a great discussion with you guys outside of this forum, but it doesn't mean I didn't like Phase 4. It just, the realization after everything, the dust settled, so to speak, it's just been a little tough. So maybe if they cut some of the fat off of some of the shows, streamlined it, and I know I hate blaming Disney all the time. Okay, I'm fucking lying to myself. Sorry, I'm gonna blame Disney. They don't cut the fat. They let it go. Like, I didn't need to have, as funny as it was, the boner joke in the Wanda series. I just, there's little things that Disney doesn't seem to do that could make this way better. And that's why I kind of got down on Phase 4. I still like a lot of it. I really do. But the movies weren't fantastic. They weren't over the top, exciting, make me want to go back and watch it like Winter Soldier or, Civil War or some of the Avengers films or whatever. But, I don't know. Maybe because of the pandemic and the way things worked out, that's just how it worked. And I'm happy we got the content we did. I was just let down a little bit on some of it. After
I don't think anybody disagrees with you on that one. By far this has been the most ho hum of all of the Marvel phases, if you will.
Yeah.
And nobody. There's nothing that has come out that is like extremely like memorable or stuff that I really care to go back and revisit, time and again, like I do with other Avengers movies, like I do with Ragnarok, like I do with, the first Avenger, like I do with Winter Soldier,
Yeah.
If I'm going to pick a random Marvel movie to put on, it's going to be one of the older ones. It's going to be nothing from this season.
Yeah. That's
or nothing from this phase, I should
say. True with me. And again, the sad thing is and not trying to nitpick at it, but yeah, it's like there were moments that really did stand out to me, but sadly it got convoluted. It got overwhelmed with all the other kind of, I'm going to use that term again, fat, the excess fat. I didn't need all of that stuff. I'm looking forward to seeing what the Marvels will come, like what they'll present with that. Well, and where was that? Was that on the list for Phase 5 or Phase 6?
I think the Marvels, the Captain Marvel 2 movie called The Marvels, I think that is a Phase 5 property, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, because Phase, the only thing they've announced officially for Phase 6 up to this point, Fantastic Four and 2 Avengers movies. So everything else is Phase 5.
Well, quick question. So, was Disney Plus a thing in Phase 3?
No.
So that's a huge difference.
Huge difference.
And I'd be curious
Was
also.
COVID-19 a thing in Phase 3?
Right.
Look, there are a lot of things that garbled Phase 4, right? I mean, it started with the firing of James Gunn, because Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was supposed to be the launch movie for Phase 4.
Yeah,
that's right.
It wound up being Black Widow. The pandemic scrambled production release schedules, because I actually found old notes that I had on what the original release schedule was supposed to be for everything.
Yeah.
And it's just wildly different in terms of actual dates and order of when these things were coming out.
So Dave, on that, I'm going to say this is where I give them a ton of credit. They took a really, really bad situation and made it unbelievably workable. Like I'm shocked at how well everything did fall in line. I really am.
I tend to agree, because you had all of that. You also had the addition of Disney Plus. You had Jeff Loeb getting fired as the head of Marvel Television and it being brought under Feige's umbrella. I presume probably after they had already mapped out the filmic release arc for Phase 4.
Right.
So you had that suddenly dropped in there. And the Netflix rights got reclaimed. And we're going to start dropping back in the middle of Phase 4 too. So for all the moving parts that they had to deal with here, I do agree with you that I'm actually impressed that it wasn't worse for all the problems that exist. Like, it should have been much worse. I mean, Warner Brothers can't even turn out a good DC movie under good circumstances.
You had to go down that road, didn't you?
Right.
I'm just telling it like it is, man. I'm just calling out facts.
Truth.
Quick timeout. And while you bring up Warner Brothers, they just within the past day, I think it was yesterday, announced that they have shelved, tabled, axed a movie that they finished. That is
$90 million on.
That $90 million on. It's a Batgirl movie that has Michael Keaton as Batman in it.
What? And was directed by the directors of Miss Marvel.
Fuck. Are you serious?
And they are saying it is never going to be seen, which means it'll be on YouTube in about 3 years.
Yeah.
Right. But Ezra Miller's Flash movie, that's
still going forward.
Still going forward.
Oh my God.
Insane. That is insane.
The things that we want to see, they're not going to give us, but all the bullshit that we don't want.
Okay.
Warner Brothers,
this
man.
isn't a
Warner
choices
Brothers.
thing. This is just me asking you right now. Is this them playing off of the Justice League Snyder Cut fan base? Like, can we get a petition going and we want to see this? Back this shit up. Why?
What you're going with? So now, first of all, let me qualify. Disney has nothing to do with this, Scott. You can't blame Disney for this in any way.
I'm not. I'm over there. I'm putting on the fucking mouse ears right now. I can't even believe this.
Are they looking for some type of manufactured grassroots campaign? If I'm making air quotes, grassroots campaign for Batwoman, like they did, like the release the Snyder Cut, kind of thing. Is that what they're going for? Which is a very strange, Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a
very strange way to generate film interest is by canceling the movie.
Right.
Okay. Okay, let's stop the bullshit right now. Let's have some fun. The fun is here, but let's just bring this up. How many of us and how many of the fucking fan base over the last 35 years loves Michael Keaton as Batman? Why would you shelve the one possible movie that might breathe some life into the
Michael Keaton will be in the Flash movie. Michael Keaton is confirmed to be in the Flash movie, so this was going to be another appearance of him as Bruce Wayne Batman from the 1989 Batman. I don't know which movie was set to come out first.
The reporting that goes along with that is that the test screenings of the Batwoman movie are just atrocious. I've been a test screener. I've been in the room with people who are test screenees for these things. You shouldn't necessarily listen to our opinion. That's all I'm saying. But that's the reporting, is that the test screenings were just atrocious, and they literally decided, we'll take the $90 million loss. We think that is the best bad decision to make in this moment. That is how bad those test screenings were.
And it's not unprecedented for Warner Brothers, because remember, they made that Wonder Woman TV show that was Ally McBeal, David E. Kelly produced, starred Adrian Palicki. They made a pilot episode. They filmed, the whole thing and put it out. And then it was so bad that they said, nope, we're not even going to try and Obi-Wan, they pulled back and sent it back into pre-production, right? They didn't even do that. They said, fuck it. This thing is just a no-go. And so they started all over with the Wonder Woman show, too. So it's not the first time that Warner Brothers has done this.
Totally insane.
Oh, my God.
Well,
crazy.
Maybe they have a little momentum with The Batman, which I thought was pretty good, and they don't want to backpedal.
I really liked The Batman.
Yeah.
I did too.
Robert Pattinson be damned. I really liked it a lot.
Oh, he was great.
I was not expecting to, and I did, but I have faith in Warner Brothers. They will find a way to fuck it up.
Hey guys,
the faith I
Death,
have. Yeah.
taxes, the sun coming up tomorrow, and Warner Brothers fucking up this superhero franchise.
We're
Four
supposed to
constants
be.
in my life.
Aren't we supposed to be getting another Joker movie out of Joaquin Phoenix?
Yeah, Lady Gaga just got announced today, right?
Yeah, that's going to come out in 2024.
Yeah.
Wow.
She's the new Harley Quinn.
Oh, that's a good hire.
I mean, it is,
don't
but
worry,
the
they'll
Joker
fuck that up
is
too.
the Joker is such a great movie, and it's so depressing. I haven't watched it since the first time I saw it, but I just remember thinking, "What a freaking masterpiece this is!"
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
It's excellent.
I
Dark
liked
as
the
hell.
Joker, but not as a Joker. I wish they would have called it anything but the Joker. I didn't need it as a Batman Batman adjacent story. Other than that, I thought it was a really good movie.
Yeah, and
that was kind of the premise of it, right? Is that it was a Batman adjacent movie without being a Batman movie.
Right.
And
it
wasn't
was a Batman
overly...
movie because they put Bruce Wayne and Thomas Wayne in it. So yes, it was a Batman movie.
Yeah.
What would you want to call it if not the Joker?
They could have called it anything else. The Clown Prince, sure. That would have been just fine.
Yeah.
Would have been just fine.
What if they called it One Bad Day?
One Bad Day would have been just fine too.
Maybe Dog Day Afternoon.
Maybe they should have just called it Star Wars.
Ooh, what's a darker movie? Joker or Seven?
Ooh.
Oh.
God,
no, it's gotta be Seven. It's gotta be Seven. There's
a box.
There were,
you know
there was
what?
a couple times that you at least chuckled in Joker. There was nothing funny about Seven.
Yeah. You know what? Greg's right. And let me just say real quick, if you can't go back to Seven and just talk about the is it Lust? Oh my God. That is disturbing beyond belief. And that one always gets overlooked. So no, it's Seven.
Yeah.
It's messed up. Oh,
none of the sins are none of the payment for the sins are a walk in the park, but Lust is
it's brutal. Yeah.
Well, on that note,
as everybody
just with
contemplates
that visual, let's get
we get a happy.
Jesus.
I feel like I need a shower.
Man, no kidding.
Just thinking about it.
Hey, go check
the
out
Secret Wars 2 Courtship of Princess Leia question. That didn't make you want to take a shower.
What's darker? What's darker, Seven or the Courtship of Princess Leia?
Oh man!
Wow.
Oh.
Hey, if you haven't watched it yet, go watch Light and Magic on Disney Plus. Star Wars fans, you're gonna get a big happy smile surprise out of that one.
I thought you were going to say big erection, so I'm glad you went the direction.
Well, I don't want to speak for anybody else, but yes, you might get a big erection too.
And I don't want to undersell it, but it's directed by Lawrence Kasdan.
Yes.
I was shocked at that.
So,
who is also trolling to write a Solo 2 script at this point in time.
Oh, please.
I would take it. I enjoyed Solo. It was just fine.
It was fine.
It was fun.
There's great stuff about Gary Kurtz and George Lucas hating on each other during the filming of the first movie, and how close to an actual piece of shit they came on that first movie, man.
Speaking of test screening feedback, Gary Kurtz saved a comment card from one of the first test screenings of the original Star Wars, which is, "This is the worst movie I have ever seen since Godzilla versus the Smog Monster." Gary Kurtz kept that and framed it and had it hanging in his office the rest of his career.
Oh, man, that's beautiful.
That final edit. The final edit did it. Pulled it together.
I will say
and
that the early episodes of Light and Magic are fantastic. The later ones, not so much. However, do stay tuned to the very end, where there's the discussion of the fight between Phil Tippett and the rest of the ILM crew over using puppets versus computers on Jurassic Park, which is just a fascinating discussion in and of itself, too.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait.
Guys, episode 234 is in the books. Thank you for going on this ride with me tonight. That was a lot of fun. We'll be back soon. There's just a lot of stuff pouring into our universe that we need to pour into your ear holes, and we will do so. I'm not sure what that means. But we'll see you again soon. Have a great week or two, and may the Force be with us all.
Really good we talked about that Andor trailer, too.
Yeah.
This being a Star Wars podcast. Yeah, 3 weeks ago. Okay, everybody watch Stranger Things. That's what we'll do next episode. Next episode,
oh my God, we
not
didn't
one
even
mention.
talk about it.
Can I get a little credit for the amount of math it took me to do to figure out how many fucking hours of content Marvel has put out over the last 10 years?
Who knows?
That did.
All right.
Math is hard too. Yeah.
When you end the recording, Steve, let's just go into the next episode and do all Stranger Things and Andor, because holy shit, we got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep running up that hill.